Good morning. This is Captain Brian with Boativation, and this morning's edition of Get Boativated. And yeah, it is still raining out, and we are filming from my little bedroom studio here in downtown Fort Myers, about a couple blocks from the Caloosahatchee. We've actually got our first tropical storm is crossing the islands, and the news crews are going nuts, making little spaghetti models of where the storm could possibly go, and everybody's glued to the TVs and watching that. But right now, it just looks like a big wet mess coming across there. So I think we should be safe for doing that way, but you never know. We'll keep an eye on the weather. Anyway, let's get started. Let's start talking about money and wealth and what are you doing with your money? What are you like? We talked a little bit yesterday about what considered wealth versus rich. Rich is paying, making good money, but you're just paying your bills. Wealth is making a nice living, but if you don't have any debt, it makes it like twice the much amount of money because you don't have to work quite as hard. But today I want to talk a little bit about what you trade for money. What is the final outcome of what you want? What are you going for? What are you working for, and why are you working for that money, and what are you doing with that money? Because you go back in the day with the Indians, they would barter. They would barter for services. They would trade out. One Indian would grow the corn, and another Indian would be good at hunting, or the next village over, and they would trade that services out for, here, I'll give you grain for the exchange of meat, and vice versa, like that. But nowadays it's all about the monetary feedback of what you're getting out of that and what you're doing. So you're giving up, basically, number one, you're giving up your time to go to work every day. You're giving your time to your employer. You're giving your time to your own business, which is to yourself, which is I think is a lot better way to do it, because you're investing in yourself to get that out of it. But other things that you're doing, like, are you cutting your own lawn every week, or are you too busy at work that you can't do that? Are you paying someone to clean your house, or are you doing it yourself to save a little bit of money? And that's ultimately what you're trading, because you're giving somebody else your time for them to give you money, so that when you have 2 to 3 days off, hopefully more than that if you can work it, but you're going to give us somebody else your money for their time, so that gives you more time. Does that make sense? You're constantly in one big barter of trade for time, and it can be a vicious cycle, because now you got an extra bill of a lawn care, you got the housekeeper. Yeah, you're paying somebody to paint the house because you don't want to do it, or you could come home and paint for an hour and a half or 2 hours every night after work. Sure, it takes a little bit of family time away, but you're saving a little bit of money doing that. So you got to what weighs the differences in doing that? Do you have enough dispensable income to pay somebody to take care of your house and landscape? How long does it take you to actually mow the lawn? If you have a big yard and it takes 5 to 6 hours, obviously it's going to be a bigger bill if you're hiring somebody. But if you're doing it yourself, it could be your thinking time too, to sit and put a motivational book or something in there and listen to a book while you're mowing the lawn and getting that done. It has a lot more little pizzazz to it that way, because it's kind of your own quiet time riding a lawnmower, if that makes sense. But it's something you got to think about. What are you trading for all that stuff and doing that? And the more money you make, like the more, now you have more money to have people do stuff for you. Is it worth doing all that? Is it easier to clean your own house, or is it easier to have somebody do it for you? How much time do you need, and how much are you working for to create that time again, because you're just swapping back and forth. And it's kind of a big thing. Like, the daycare is really expensive nowadays, and if you're a husband and wife are working together, and they both have decent career jobs, and then it starts out weighing and said, okay, if one stayed home to take care of the kids, they wouldn't have the $250 a week per kid for the daycare, or whatever the amount is. I don't have kids, but I know that I've heard my friends talk about it. And then at the same time, you don't need as fancy of a car, because you don't need to get the kids to the daycare back and forth. You don't need babysitters or after school care, because one of you is home to take care of that. And you're getting more quality time with your kids at that point in time as well, because you are home to take care of them, and you don't need to put them in daycare. And you add all that stuff up, sometimes that can equal $30,000 or $40,000 by the time you put in a car payment, the car insurance, the daycare, the extra gas and money back and forth, the insurance, all that stuff adds up. And when you think about it, how much is that second person making? Is it just for convenience to get out of the house? They have a change of scenery, or is it, are they making $100,000 a year? So it costs them $40,000 a year to put the kids in daycare and the doggy daycare and all that other stuff that goes along with it. And they're still making $60,000. Okay, that might be worth it. But if they're only making $5,000 more than what all those bills are, is that stress and aggravation worth that? So think about that. Think about what you're actually paying for your time, and the time is paying for you. Because It's up to you to create the best scenario for yourself and analyze that. If you're not sitting down and analyzing that, that's a bigger thing to it. Or can you work from the house? Can you keep your kids at home? And I know a lot of families have offered daycare out of their house or babysitting or whatever. Not so serious as calling it daycare, but they bring their other neighbor kids in and they take care of it. And they're making some money to be at home. Now that's not a bad idea. What can you do from home to make a little bit of money while the kids are there? The kids are napping. You can still do some work in the garage, or you can do some other stuff to make that happen and grow with that. But think about how you're spending your money. Think about how much time you're putting into work so you can spend your money, and figure that out. That's a big decision to make. And if you need help with that, let me know. I'll be glad to sit down and we'll make a little chart up. It'll like a little graph and figure out what makes sense, what's your best options for yourself, and make that happen so you can grow and maximize the time that you're spending with the family and the work, and where more priorities are for you, and what make that happen. I messed that up a little bit. But anyway, check it out. I'm Captain Brian. Reach out to me. You can hit me up on Facebook, message me, hit me up on here. I'm Captain Brian. We went a little bit long today, but I want you to have a great day, a great upcoming week, and think about what you got going on. We'll talk to you soon.